Hola. Oh, let's get Michael in there. We are live.
I'm Michael.
And I'm Jamie.
Yeah. This is tarot time.
Yeah, two of wands. Yeah. Time to talk about the Empress.
Yes.
So the basic gist is that Michael is working on a tarot deck. And we had started getting together. We need our theme song actually to do that. Our wives got tired of hearing us. Our wives, got tired of hearing us talk constantly around, when we'd have dinner together about tarot. So we made a deal that instead of talking it around dinner, that we would actually hold off and we would just do it live.
That's right.
So that's what we're doing now.
And hello to you, Symbolism. Yeah. All right. So the number 3, the Empress. Thoughts? Initial thoughts?
Okay, initial thoughts. So,
tell me.
Everybody has seen the Rider-Waite, so go ahead and show them the Rider-Waite, because that's most people will generally look at the Rider-Waite and they're familiar with that. And if I can borrow your card when you're done.
Absolutely. Yep. There you go.
We've got the good old-fashioned Rider-Waite here. The Empress sitting there. Some people wondering if she's pregnant, and you can see Pamela Coleman Smith added a bunch of other things, including the Venus and things like that.
Okay. Can I go through some of that?
So what I'm going to do is absolutely. Michael is really big into
the older decks, or the newer decks.
The newer decks.
The newer decks.
And the magical side of it, Pamela Coleman Smith's deck. The symbology behind it, so absolutely.
Okay, let me do that, and then we'll go back in time, and you can.
Okay.
And you can do the Versailles and all the other stuff. So with the Empress, we've got it's the third card in the suite, and like Jamie was saying, there's this garden which represents the entrance into this life and the exit into the beyond, and there's fertility represented by the waterfall.
Oh, you know what? Let me get mine.
Oh, so we can do both screens. Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a waterfall in there. We've got the ripening crop. We've got her hints of the pregnant belly. So all these are fertility signs. And then she's sitting on a pillow.
Hold on, before you go too much.
Oh, sorry.
Well, no, I'm gonna. Okay, I was looking for my other Rider-Waite, but you know what? I've got my 1972. Doesn't have glare, and it's not as pretty as the is that the Universal?
This is the Spirit Wise, the Radiant.
The Radiant Wise. Yes,
Radiant
I've got
Spirit
that.
Wise. Yeah.
But here's the classic 1972. Okay, so go to town, Mike. You talk about yours.
Okay, all right. So she's got the pillow, which is the passionate love and the comfort, because she's the beautiful, fertile, woman.
Oh, we should explain also that we have two cameras. He's doing his stream, I'm doing my stream.
Yep.
So no, I've got it now.
Got it.
I am set.
Okay.
I have two cameras.
So we've got the shield of Venus, and Venus being, of course, the goddess of beauty and love. So that fits very well with the Empress, and then she's got this. She doesn't. Rider-Waite doesn't have it.
What?
But going back to this one, is that up for interpretation? This is absolutely everything is up for interpretation. It's just these are things that this is how I interpret the card. And how many have interpreted, but absolutely everything is for interpretation.
Yeah, keep in mind that with the tarot cards, and somebody just asked about, is it up for, everything is up for interpretation, because keep in mind that until de Gebelin came along and said that these were actually magical cards and they were based on the Egyptian, hieroglyphs and all this other stuff, all this mystical stuff was not in here, and so people reinterpreted the tarot from the beginning, and so Waite went ahead and came up with these things, and then that was his interpretation of what the original card was, and I'll put up here's the original. This is the first mass-produced deck. And you'll see it doesn't have all the extra symbolism and stuff.
But one of the things that I was going to mention that actually isn't in the Rider-Waite, but you see the eagle here. The eagle is another symbol of the Empress, and it represents movement towards new goals, which is a number 3 thing since she's the third card. You'll see that in the pips and stuff is movement towards new goals, a creative force that allows growth. You see the vines growing with the 3s, but that bird, that eagle, is the same idea as movement towards new goals as well as leadership. You know, you see the eagle on many different crests, and then also
hold on before you move past.
I'm not. One more thing.
Okay, go ahead with the eagle.
Yeah. So we got and then wings of desire.
Oh.
And is this? I think I have an idea what you're going to talk about. This.
Nope. No, you don't. No,
okay.
You don't.
Okay. Well, let me say it first then. So she's also got this tapestry that's in back of her. That some people...
That has nothing to do with the eagle. I want to touch on the eagle before you move forward because it's important.
Okay, but some people misinterpreted that veil or that shroud behind her as wings. Mm-hmm. So eagle's wings, and giving her a again wings of desire, the heavenly aspects. But what else eagle-wise you got?
That's all the interpretation.
It's all interpretation.
It's all interpretation because now here's what's interesting. So why is the eagle facing that way?
Oh, because the emperor has the eagle facing the other way.
Oh, really? Would you like to know the other reason for that?
Well, please tell me.
Okay. So notice the original Visconti.
A Visconti?
Visconti deck, yeah. Look at where she's facing. Okay.
She is she's looking straight. Looks like she's looking straight at us, and the eagle is looking to the one side, and then they flipped it for the.
Well, okay, so some other people can also see.
Yeah. So they flipped the eagle.
That's not it. So the deal is, this should perhaps alert us, and I'm reading this from Reading the Marseille Tarot. It's like a 52-week course in reading the tarot, and I always remember this because it says about this particular card is that this should perhaps alert us that the wood block had been made as a reversed image of the original, for the eagle is normally depicted facing Dexter to the right. In addition, we would normally expect the scepter of office to be held with the hand, not the left. Instead, reasonably with
the right hand. Yeah, that would make sense.
Reasonably expect the shield to be left hand.
So it's got flipped. Yeah.
So the person who did the wood block looked at the original and did the original, and then once they did the original, then it was flipped and reversed. So the eagle, because this is actually the eagle is actually from the royal house. The eagle is supposed to be looking to the left. I forgot which house it was.
Visconti.
If we look closely, the shields both, and they depict a different kind of eagle. Both eagles are displayed outstretched. But it's a heraldic eagle.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be facing left. I think it's Germany.
That makes sense because yeah.
So again, with that interpretation, whole thing coming down to interpretation that I love, I take direction very seriously. Am I looking to the future? Am I looking to the past? Where am I
looking to the emperor, or am I looking away from him?
So if I'm interpreting the tarot now, then I'm looking at this Marseille tarot, and she's holding in her left hand the scepter, the shield in her right hand, when it should be reversed, and the bird is looking in to the right towards the future. So keep in mind that the original woodblock cuts were not made for tarot reading. They were made in the 1600s. I mean, in the 16th century, in the 1500s. They were made strictly for playing cards. And then, the same way somebody says, I have dice. Hey, you know what? Because of numbers, I can go ahead and roll these, and I can tell your fortune.
Right. We can do numerology, or we can play games.
Numerology. We can do anything we want. Yeah.
But
If I can cut it open and spill out the intestines and read it, I can
hopefully
do that.
I like cards better than that.
Yes.
But Symbolism says the pregnant bit, is that up for interpretation? And yeah, everything is up for interpretation. You don't have to see her as pregnant, but because the number 3 numerologically speaking is a creative force that allows growth, that would lend you to strongly suggest that she is pregnant, especially since she's a goddess of love, and you know, she's on, like, some people say that the pillows that she's lounging on could even be considered you know, pregnancy pillows. So there's a lot of hints there. You don't have to see it that way, and not always will it be that way in a reading, but oftentimes it can be. But anyway,
Well, and to continue on with it. So, if that helps you to interpret the card, because she is about fertility, she is about, you know, the nature mother, if you're going to look at it in the right way,
yeah,
then, you know, who's to say she's not pregnant?
exactly.
You know, so I will point that out sometimes. Based on a reading, do I need a strong woman figure who is going to be able to not only be emotionally strong, but somebody who can also be dominant in a situation? I may not see her as pregnant, but if I need, you know, if this is a pregnancy reading, or if this is a interpretation of a motherly or a family kind of interpretation, then the strength of a mother has for her child, then all of a sudden it's like I open my eyes again.
Right.
And where I didn't see her pregnant before, all of a sudden it's like, you know, in this situation, I feel that she is.
And a lot of it depends on what the other cards around it are, you know, are pointing at, and part of the story. Is she pregnant in this story, or is she not? I mean, there's so many different, what is the reading about, and then you will get different feelings and intuitions about, and her belly will look bigger or not as big, depending on the various reading that you're giving. But yeah, so many times it is, but not always. And going back up to the, you know, is she stern or not? One of the things that how I interpret the Empress is different than the Emperor being more strict. The Empress I see as a gentle ruler. She's uses subtle suggestion to convince her subjects to be willingly devoted. I mean, she has the way of stripping her enemies of power in a way that they think they're being blessed. It's like you catch more flies with honey than vinegar kind of energy going on. But the Empress is, you want to please her, you know, and so she's manipulative in that way, but it's gentle in a way that you don't feel like you're being manipulated. You want to please her. That's the way I always see the Empress. How about you?
Well, for the Empress, for me, so you have the king.
Yeah, the Emperor, right?
The Emperor, so as you're doing your journey and you're walking, you know, if you're doing the Fool's Journey and you walk along, the Emperor is looking to his left.
Towards her. Towards
Where you were coming from. He's the guardian of the past.
Yeah.
Because of the feminine nature of this card, this woman is the guardian of the future. So she's looking forward. She's the one that's going to make sure that everything prospers. You know, she knows that her back is covered.
Right.
You know, you've got the Emperor in there. He's looking at the back. So she's safe to maintain and create a new future.
It's all
if
about
that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the creative energy of the number 3 again. Yep. And I love how she comes in first. So the tarot is nothing if it isn't progressive and ahead of its time. You'd think that, like, the Emperor would come first. Man comes first, Mr. and Mrs., you know, right? No, not so much with the tarot. In the tarot, the Empress comes first. Why? Because numerology is more important than, this is how I see it. Numerology is more important than those gender things. So it's like, if you're going to have a card that's going to be about 3. It's going to be creativity. Of course, it's a woman. So the Empress has to come first because the women have creative power, and then you come to the Emperor, the 4. But that'll be next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, in the game of Tarochi, so it's a trump game. So one card will trump the other. Okay. The original cards. Okay. They knew the order, so notice these aren't numbered. These weren't numbered until a couple hundred years later.
Until the Marseille decks came along. Yeah.
Well, until the Visconti deck came along.
Well, the Visconti.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
When they numbered them, who was it? I think it was de Gebelin that was the first one to number them.
Really? They weren't numbered for the.
Well, this is prior to that.
Gebelin came
prior to the numbering.
Gebelin came before the.
Oh, I'm sorry. No.
He came much later.
No, anyway, no.
Yeah.
The game itself. Right. I'm sorry.
So
anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go back a couple seconds there. Let me do this. So anyway, it's a game of trumps. So the queen, you were saying, she's a higher, the number, the importance of it. Well, in reality, with the game and how people would have originally seen the cards, and before books were written to tell us that this is the godmother and the earth mother and she's Venus and she's like, all they knew is that I'm playing a game and the king is going to trump the queen.
But okay, so if you do it that way, but then why would it be the magician and then the high priestess?
Because it's the juggler or the battler who's the lowest person on the totem pole in any kingdom.
Okay.
He rates because he's a performer. He's
and then the popess would be the next lowest?
Well, the popess isn't even real, right? That's what they're saying. It's like, you can't have her. Who would she trump? If you had her higher than the emperor, then you're saying that this woman, who is a mythological person, who we're not really sure what it's based on.
Sure.
Is it the Visconti relative or is this Pope Joan?
Yeah.
No, so there's no way they're going to put that high up.
Yep. So originally
you have the juggler, who is just a paid performer who's just above a fool. Then you have this, when you do your pageantry and you go through and they would line people up, keep in mind that they used to have pageants and they would have people lined up like this. Then you would have your the papist. Okay. And so people would know what that represents and they'd be, and then you would have the Empress.
Sure. Okay. But
so the magician is the lowest man on the totem pole. Originally.
So in that ordering, then I guess it is the old-fashioned way. But taking the tarot into the New Age or modern days, I like how the Empress comes first. So it plays into to a modernized way of thinking very nicely. If you get past the way that the tarot was originally, a game, and you use it for divination, which most people do. Then I think it's a nice little happenstance that she comes first. And when you think about it esoterically, the first number 1 would be a dot, right? And number 2, you have a line. And number 3, you can finally make a triangle. And when you have a triangle, you've got shapes that can represent physical things. And so before it was like the magician, it's abstract will, right? The Empress, it's all about your subconscious. It's not tangible, it's not material. But the Empress is the introduction, the triangle. You can now say, oh, A is closer to B than A is closer to C, and you can talk about physical, real things. And she's all about physical and real things. She's created power in this fertile garden, and we can talk about real things now. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, and keep in mind as I talk about all this stuff, it's like I do take the numerology and everything into consideration.
And I love the old stuff too. So it's not that we're always fighting against each other. We're just telling the other side of the story and then appreciating the other side.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole thing right there because a lot of the times what I see is that the interpretations of the tarot, you have an original interpretation with the Marseille, and then comes de Gebelin, and then comes all these other people. Then you have and then you have Paul Case. You have all these other people.
Eventually, the Crowley.
And so, modern people from the '60s on up, they read one person's interpretation, like Eden Gray, and she came up with her book. And then other people came along and didn't read any of the original interpretations. They read Eden Gray's book.
Right.
And so they built on Eden Gray's book and added on that.
It's a snowball.
And invented their own stuff.
Sure.
To say, oh, well, this is what this meant. I'm going to make my own. And so by the time you get to today,
it's got all this mythology.
Everybody has forgotten what the original fortune tellers and the original people that interpreted the tarot as, for reading.
Well,
they totally forgot most of the part what it's about.
Or they've forgotten how he played the game, and they're more about the fortune telling and all the lore that's been added on since then. It's the divination that the stories grow and evolve and change. But I like all of it. I like the original. I love the original. And I love all the stuff that's added on. That's what I hope to do with my deck is to pay tribute to the beginnings and pay tribute to all the esoteric stuff that's added on and just kind of weave all the symbology together.
Right.
But let me see here. So if you don't mind me going back, there was a few other points I wanted to make here.
Did you cover the stars?
Not yet. So that's a good point. Okay, so on the star of her crown here, she's got 12 stars, which represents your divine influence over earthly matters. Again, because she's representing the physical. But it's for 12 stars for the 12 signs of the zodiac. I'm gonna branch off and be controversial and add 2 more stars to have a 14 star zodiac with mine. But Rider Waite tarot, she's got 12 stars there. But again, it's that divine influence over earthly matters, and she's got the scepter with the globe on top. So it's the physical manifestation of the divine will. But that's what the Empress is all about. It's that physicality. It's the getting past the abstract into something tangible. That's really like the number 3.
Right.
But then going into older decks or newer decks. I keep doing that. Newer decks like Crowley, he takes it a whole step further, and you're adding even more symbology. But I love every step of the way. The one of the things that I find fascinating is the secret of creation is passed from the High Priestess to the Empress. So in many cards,
Hold on, start that over again.
So
Are you talking about in mythology?
In esoteric line of thinking is that one of the secrets is that the whole because 13 death and 3 the Empress, it's that creative energy of changing from one incarnation to the other, and that's a secret that's passed on from the High Priestess, who's full of secrets, right? So that's one of the reasons you'll see the Empress. Sometimes you'll see her stepping on a moon, on a crescent moon, just like the High Priestess is. Not in any of these cards that I've got in front of me here, but some decks you'll see that and it's because of that reason that the High Priestess has this secret, and she's passed it on to the Empress, and because she's deemed worthy to share the secret, and then the Empress can then, if she feels her subjects are worthy, pass the secret on a little bit further.
Right.
But that's another thing that is one of those symbols that is cool to look for when you see that crescent moon that the Empress is stepping on. And you're like, wait, I thought that was something that the High Priestess only does, and then that's the reason why.
Yeah, and when you see stuff like the moon and the sun and things like that, because keep in mind that people started interpreting the tarot thinking that it was actually that they went all the way back to Egypt.
Right.
You know, Egypt had always been this big thing, this big deal, and everything else. And then all of a sudden they decided that, well, with all the symbology that I'm seeing, it can't just be a dang game.
Right.
You know? What
It
are they
has to
talking
be something
about?
more.
It has to be so much more.
Right.
And so then it becomes Egyptian. So you see the moon, you see the sun, you'll see that later on.
Oh, and going back to the stars, I got a question here from Shredda about the stars and how I'm doing 14 instead of the normal 12 that everyone
wait for
knows.
that. Yep.
All right, so he's saying, is that Ophiuchus is, I believe, how it's pronounced? Yes, that would be the serpent bearer is the 13th sign, and the 14th is Cetus, the sea serpent. So to balance the two, because if you have Ophiuchus, it's unbalanced unless you bring in Cetus, the sea monster. And this goes back to a book published by Stephen Schmidt, Astrology 14, where he brings in the two signs, which he says updates astrology for the current day, you know, for the days that we live in now, because back in the olden days, long ago,
Elder days.
in elder days, there were only 10 signs of the zodiac. Then they changed it to 12 long ago, and that's all what we know, the 12. But he's saying that because the stars have changed, you know, they moved very slowly, but it's been a long time, and they've moved enough now where he has proposed this new system that adds the two more signs so that astrology can be correct. But, you know, it's still astrology. It's not science. It's not facts. It's astrology. So take everything with a grain of salt. But I love give me two more cards, I'll take them. You know, so I love the more myth and more things to read with. So I've got I'll be adding those two extra cards, and probably causing a lot of controversy. But my deck will. If you don't like them, you can just put those two aside and just read with the 12 or not any of the zodiac. But I've got options for you.
So agreed. So, and there's all that stuff, and you know, all the esoteric stuff and the Kabbalah and things like that.
Yeah.
Kind of give a mystique to the tarot and things like that, but I am not of the magical. I'm not of the magical realm, of the magical side of it.
I am.
You know, but I absolutely respect it. But I started going back, and again, I understand all of it, and
Sure.
I use it
Yeah.
as for interpretation.
When you're,
so don't think that I don't.
Oh, exactly. When you're reading for somebody that is into it, he can dive very deep into that kind of stuff, which makes Jamie a great reader, and vice versa. You know, if somebody doesn't quite get that kind of stuff, I'm happy to read in a more historical way. But it all depends on the reader. It all depends on the reading.
But one thing about when I read, and the one thing when I'm teaching, or the one thing when we're doing something like this. You know, somebody asked about interpretation and our interpretation and things like that. So what I always do is that when I first look at a card, and especially a new deck, something that somebody's created, because now all the interpretations have changed.
Yep, they're all new again.
So see what I have here? I always ask myself, what does the Fool see? And the reason I ask that is because the Fool has no clue. When you say Kabbalah, he's like, is that a drink? You know, he has no idea. So when I'm looking at this card, I do want to ask myself.
What would the Fool do?
What does the Fool see? So if I'm interpreting this, then what I'm actually seeing is I'm seeing a situation with a young lady, a young woman. She looks like she might be pregnant. You know, I don't know anything about how many stars there are, but she looks regal. And the way she's holding her baton, it makes me seem like it's somebody who's in charge.
Exactly right.
So I'm sitting here as I'm interpreting this, and again, because, I see an emblem on her shield and things like that, but it's luxurious. I look at the field around her, I look at the trees, and I see a woman who is a mother. I see the protector. I see this person that I can trust.
It's all about tapping into those primitive
It's
gut feelings,
yeah.
and seeing what the picture moves you to say.
It's a Rorschach test.
Exactly.
It's a Rorschach test because, and it depends upon the situation that it's in. The reason why I do study all the symbology and the magical side of it too is because there's a lot of different interpretation that people see that I want to know, but for the most part, I use none of that because I just want to know. The fool is too dumb to be fooled. The smartest man in the world can tell you what single thing here is and all this stuff. And he could look at the emperor and say, that's the most beautiful outfit you've ever seen. And the fool's going to look at the emperor and say, but he's wearing no clothes. If you know that story, the emperor has no clothes. So I try and keep things super simple.
And simple's good.
Yeah.
But even the fool has his bag of tricks. And so I like to fill my bag with as many tricks as possible. And I don't always pull them all out, but knowledge is power. So I like to know all the different things so that if it is important to a various reading, that I can tap into those things and let them take me in ways that the reading needs to go. And I'm sure you're the same way.
Well, yeah, because with the Golden Dawn, they used correspondences, which means there's the stars up here and whatever deities are there, and then I'm down here. Somehow or another, there is a connection. If I can understand this, then I can understand the next step, and I can understand the next step, and then I can understand the movement of I can understand what the gods are thinking or what the spirits are moving.
It all is connected.
So you look for the they were looking for the correspondences.
Absolutely.
And so when they saw the astrology, that's another correspondence to what's up there.
Yep.
If I see the queen, or if I see this, then I'm going to equate it. We have Venus here. I'm going to equate it with the movement of the stars up there. And then all of a sudden now I'm reading the Empress as Venus, as the goddess, and then I can now do a chart based on that and then reflect on how that affects this. None of it's wrong.
Yeah, there is no right or wrong. That's the wonderful thing about the tarot.
And just in case, so your website is...
Oh, yes, to promote ourselves again. So I'm Offbeat Artwork.
Yep.
And Jamie is MyTarot. So follow us both. We do these chats every Wednesday. And then we both do readings throughout the week as well. So follow us both and join the party.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm looking at my stream and it's really jumpy.
Oh,
I know, so I'm wondering if it's even going out there, so it may not even be working.
I found out there's this cool thing you can do on Twitch. You can even multi-Twitch and watch us both at the same time.
So instead of just one Twitch, you can do this Twitch.
No, but if you wanted to see multiple cameras, Jamie's got his on the cards right now. So if you wanted to see what we're looking at while we're talking,
oh, that's cool.
You could do just type in, I think it's multi-Twitch, and then you put back / and then Offbeat Artwork / MyTarot. So if you it all become, and then you can watch them stacked.
Right.
And you can watch it both, as long as your connection's fast enough, you can watch both live feeds at the same time when we do the on Wednesdays. But yeah, it's one of those things I just found out about that's kind of cool, especially for what we're doing.
Absolutely. That is cool. That is cool.
But yeah, so
what else did you pull up?
That is really all my, I didn't really go super deep into notes for the Empress this
for the
time.
Garden and the fertilities and all the,
I mean, it's all there. It's definitely, I think we've covered pretty much everything that
Right.
I had notes on. But
And so one of the things I do like to do is I like to see how the Empress looks in a 3-card setting. So how about if we do it this way? It's not an interpretation. It's not a reading.
Okay.
But we'll both. What deck would you prefer?
I usually go with
Not the Crowley. I mean,
Like
do you want
Crowley.
Marseille or do you want to use the right? I want to go with something that people can see and they know what it is.
Okay. Well, a lot of people do know the Crowley deck.
Oh,
But,
and here's the 1800s. This is the Italian deck, and I love how stylized the Italian deck is. Now let's go with.
I'll do Rider Waite then,
Okay.
since I've got that.
So take the Queen. So shuffle your deck
Okay. Where's
and
my Queen back?
put the
There
Queen
she
in the
is.
middle. Well, put the Queen in the middle. 'Cause
Okay.
She's the one that we're going to reflect on.
All right.
So now it's like we've talked about what the Queen is and what it can mean to us.
Sure.
Now I'm curious to see what's going to happen when
When
we
we
put a
do-
card to the left and a card to the right.
Sounds great.
What she's going to mean when we do this.
Yes. You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Oh no, we'll do it together.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. We could tag team this one.
Or I tell you what, well, let's do this. You do the Rider Waite.
Right. And I was
And
thinking
then you
do-
start off, and then I'll throw in on my part on that, and then we'll do this, and we'll talk about it again.
Okay,
but we'll do it with the Marseille.
Okay, that's fair.
That sounds like fun. But this way here, I do like seeing what's around it.
All right.
So you go
Okay, so they're good and shuffled. I'm gonna hold it up first for my audience, and then you're just gonna have to remember what they are, and they'll be down on the screen on Jamie's feed. So we've got her in the middle, and then I'm gonna put one card to each side. So those ended up being the King of Swords is on her left, and the Ten of Swords is to her.
Was that reversed or?
Oh, do you want to
Well, yeah, man.
Okay,
if it
so
came up reversed, your deck's reversed.
All right, so it was. To be fair, it was the Ten of Swords reversed is going to be on the right there. Okay, so we're going to make this a 3-card interpretation.
Hey, you two, I'm back here watching, so please don't stop this series. Okay.
Yay!
Hey.
Loyal followers.
And it's Sardine Serene. Sardine Serene? Hey. Pronounce something like that.
Something like that. Okay. So, all right. So what we got here? We got the Empress, and we got the King of Swords that's kind of doing a side look, just a slight slide look over there at her, and then we've got this upside down Ten of Swords happening on her right. So, let's see. If we're interpreting this as I don't know how we're doing this. Are we doing
it's
this?
just if you're reading it, however you want to. I mean, there's no
Okay.
question to it.
Okay.
It's a general reading.
Just a general rating. Okay. So if I was saying a general rating for what this would mean, we've got the King of Swords, which is logical, the top of his suite, and he's kind of slightly looking over at the Empress, right? So he's saying, it's good to be that soft ruler, but to remember, sometimes you got to be logical about this. Is that's the kind of side glance that I'm getting off him, and then to the right we see something that it can get serious real quick here, but not necessarily because it's reversed, and we've got the daylight. So it's not always about death. Sometimes it's about new beginnings and the sun coming back up again, which is really all her theme. She's all about that regeneration. That's why she's tied to death, number 13. It's because she knows that secret of creation. So we've got this creative energy, which she's facing towards. She knows all about that, and the king is just suggesting a little bit of balance, saying, don't forget to use your head, as well. That's what I see. And in these let me see if I can pull that up real quick for my screen. This was reversed, so it was like that. All right, now you tell me, Jamie.
Okay.
Let's put it back in order.
Yep, put it back in order. Okay, so now we got it back on. So what I see the most important thing here, and I'll hold it up for your guys also. To me, the Ten of Swords, people see this as, oh my God, disaster.
Dun dun dun.
Life is so bad, I've got a freaking sword sticking out of my ear. Oh my gosh. I'm okay. I have a sword in my ear, but life is come on, guy. Life is not so bad that you've got a sword sticking in your ear. So I see the swords as that mental anguish sometimes we go through where we're just like, we can't see that it's not as bad as we think. I mean, it's the mental strain and everything.
Sure.
And we have to acknowledge that mental strain. But in reality, as my favorite saying is life is full of crises. It's just the last one you don't survive.
I like that.
Okay? So this guy needs to be reminded of that. So how do we remind him of that? We're going to turn him upside down and we're going to give him some relief and we're going to let the swords fall out. Okay? We're going to get that sword out of his ear. How are we going to do that? We're going to use common sense.
Right? The King of Swords over there.
And we're going to also use tenderness and understanding and caring. Because I tell you what do you think the King of Swords is going to do if get up off the ground? What's wrong with you, kid? Oh my God, I can tell you what's wrong. He'll be right.
Yeah, but it's not.
He's
He's not sugarcoating though.
He will be absolutely right. But all you're going to do is slink away.
Right. Sometimes you need that softer approach.
So in between the two, we add the Queen to soften it.
The Empress. Yeah.
So the light of truth is what we need here. And the King offers that. But it has to be filtered through the Queen. So he will whisper to her, this is what I'm seeing. And if he doesn't get up and frickin' do his chores, or
he'll take care of it.
I'll show him.
Right.
But the Queen's gonna say, calm down.
You're right. I got this.
I got this. And she has talked to the gentleman who's got the swords there. And she said, you don't need to just lay there with the swords in your back anymore.
Right. We can take this out.
We understand. We have the knowledge.
We'll get you Band-Aids.
We're going to do this. So, and how do we do this? Okay, so if this was the advice then, okay, first off, we can say that this might be, a timeline going from left to right.
Sure. But
I think that the advice here is to first convince yourself that it's like life is not over. It's not that bad. The pandemic's almost over. It's not so bad.
Get your booster shot, though.
And so maybe we need to find somebody who is both king and queen. Somebody who's smart, intelligent, that we trust, but also that can filter. So I'm saying it's about talking to another person.
Sure.
But someone who will give us the tough love that we need. See the tough love? This is called tough love. Okay?
but with the softness.
But yes. And it's toughness.
Yeah,
with
and
love
loveness.
and love. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I read the Ten of Swords. Definite endings, although painful, but something new can begin.
Exactly. Yep.
Exactly.
There's always that sunrise, and there's always that secret sign. If you look at the hand on the Ten of Swords, it's almost like he's given a little secret sign saying, I'm not dead yet.
I'm okay.
Yep. It's just for pretend.
So now.
So let's do the verse.
I want to ask you a question.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
So now we have a new light, a new sentence, a new poem.
Okay.
We have a poem here.
Okay.
We have a song that's been created. How are you interpreting, what new view do you have of the Queen? How do you now see the Queen?
So the way I see the Queen now is...
the Empress, I should say.
Yeah, the Empress, the Queen, yep. So the way I see her now is, yes, she is that gentle ruler, but she's got help if she needs it. And there's going to still be those tough lessons that you need to learn. You might have it presented in a loving way, but that doesn't negate the fact that there's still a lesson, a hard truth that must be learned. So I see her, a richer, it's not just all lovey-dovey.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And in this, I see her as the interpreter.
Yeah.
She is
the bridge.
She's the psychiatrist we go to. She's
Right.
the therapist we talk to.
Right.
She is she's that phone call that we make.
Yeah.
So that's my modern keyword for it. Then she is the phone call.
Yeah. The lifeline.
She's the lifeline.
Yeah.
She's the one. If we're looking at this as like the past, this might have been the teacher who taught her what she needed to know. And now she's that phone.
Implementing
As a matter of fact, maybe she's even holding up a phone right there. Maybe that's not even a wand. Maybe that's a microphone so she can talk to us.
Sure.
So here she is. So I see now the Empress is holding up her microphone saying, guy with the swords in your back. Hey, Mr. Guy with the swords in your back. Can I have your attention, please? See her microphone? So the microphone, the microphone is saying, "It's okay."
Yeah.
And so he can turn the swords around.
That's great. That's
how
great.
I see it.
That's very
I see
cool.
a new symbol in here now. I never even thought of that, but that might be a microphone.
Yeah.
And she's looking out at the crowd saying, "Hey, there's something you need to listen to."
She's ready to boombox.
Yep.
Or beatbox. That's cool. That's cool. So let's do the Marseille one. You started off and I'll finish it.
Cool. Okay.
These are fun.
So here's let me see what I did with the Marseille. Oh, did I put her back in as I was playing? I always end up messing with my cards. I just shuffle and I play and I play and I shuffle.
Did you? Sorry.
I don't think so. Come on, young lady. Come on. No, that's Justice.
That's Justice. I thought I saw
Justice got wings also, right?
Right.
And so does the Papist. Here we go.
Is.
Okay, so here she is.
Yeah.
So now we've got the Marseille deck. And again, it's like I know, when I'm looking at this, it's like, do I really know anything about astrology or anything like that? And so I just did
you don't need to.
I did a video just last night while testing my camera on how to shuffle, doing this way. So that a lot of people, when you do the bridge shuffling, like this, just kills cards.
Yeah. Don't want to do that. Treat your tarot with respect.
Exactly. So.
Or don't.
Okay, why am I sitting here acting like I'm going to do a reading? This is not a reading. Okay, so I'm just going to grab 3 cards so we can interpret the Queen. Okay, so here we are. And to the left, we have the 5 of coins.
Okay.
Okay. And to the right, we have the 3 of coins.
Lots of earth energy.
Okay.
All right, you tell me.
So, the 5 of coins are generally about health. When you're talking about the Marseille deck, or even if you're talking about the Rider-Waite shows the 2 people that are outside the church that where it's snowing and they're destitute and everything else.
They're looking up.
Okay.
If they could only look up.
So, but I'm looking at this and I'm seeing, the 5s are always a challenge. Okay. And then you have the coins. They are about merchants, money. They're about home, security, things like that. So when you have your 4 of coins, you've got the walls around you, everything's secure. You throw that 5 in there, and the 5s are always a challenge. And traditionally, it could be health. It could be a challenge at work. It could be a loss of something at work where things were stable. All of a sudden, that 5th element gets thrown in there. Mm-hmm. Not the movie. Okay.
God, no. I'm just holding this up real quick for mine. This is what we got to work with. 3 Empress 5, or 5 Empress 3. 5 Empress 3. There we go. Okay. All right.
And
continue.
Also, you want to interpret the symbolism of the card itself, because I keep talking about what does the Fool see, and the Fool sees, with the 4 of coins, they were together. There wasn't anything that was like, it didn't look like they were separated. But now I'm looking at this interpretation here. And I see, I'm the most important one in the center here.
Right.
And I'm pushing out the other 4 because what you had before is not important. So I see the selfishness in here also, if I was interpreting that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then I see the Queen in the middle, the Empress in the middle, and then I see the threes. So I see this as a conflict. Okay? I see this as something's going on. Maybe it's one person is causing a challenge, or maybe it's something, maybe there's an outside influence. Maybe it's not a person, but an outside influence. Could be a bill, could be something else that has just disrupted everything and has taken center stage from everything else.
And if I may,
yes.
So she's looking away from the 5 and towards the 3. Interesting, because she's also a 3, numeral 3. Mm-hmm. So she's looking towards the solution that to get past the conflict of the 5, look towards the 3 thing that she knows all about, that creative energy. That's going to be the solution here. Is to get past the conflict, look for a creative solution.
And that's exactly it, because threes are about groupings, about creativity.
Yeah.
2,
new movement.
You have a man and a woman, and all of a sudden they create, and you have a third.
Right.
Is how they it's always been seen. 3 is the magic number.
Right.
It's also, but when you're doing also the 3 of coins, then instead, then you're producing money, then you're producing product, then you're creating
material things
and things like that.
Yep.
So it's, no matter what, it's like, it's an improvement. So yes, you're going from the 5, filtered again to the Queen.
Yep.
Or to the Empress.
Looking towards the solution.
And she is looking at that.
Yep.
And exactly, she's looking towards it. And her eagle
is also looking
towards the future.
Yeah.
So literally, it looks like she has completely got her back
to the 5. Yeah.
To the 5. She's like, you know what? I'm not even looking at you, 5.
Let's see. Oh.
She's like,
there it is.
So then, how is she in the advice now? Well, now I'm looking at her, and 3, since it's about growth and creating and building, 3s are about building.
Yep.
It looks to me like she's holding, like a tool, like she's got a bag here with her tools in it.
Right.
And she's holding,
like
she's got a hammer. Maybe she's like, I've got a bag of what you need. Okay, this person here is called an interruption. I've got the tools to help you.
I've got my back towards that.
Settle it all out. Get rid of that, that problem that you're having.
Right.
She's saying that find a way to get that balance. Maybe you need to go back. Maybe you move too fast. You start with 1, you start with 2, you start with 3. You had stability.
Yep.
And then what happened? All of a sudden,
you moved
something
too fast.
happened.
Yeah.
So maybe
got to that 5 too quick.
You need to
dial it back a bit.
Dial it back. Not look towards trying to build on what you've already got. Maybe you need to rethink what you've got and how you got there.
Right.
And maybe you need to take whatever wisdom you can from this Empress and say, you know what, I'm going to go back to what worked. So, what is the issue? What worked in the past? And how can you get there? Is what I think the Empress is saying.
That's cool. That's the Triforce of Power. And it's a 3-card spread. So yep. It's all about the 3s.
So
that's a.
What do you see? Okay.
Yeah, totally.
So what would your interpretation be?
Well, as I was saying earlier when I interrupted you there, but absolutely that you're looking past that conflict towards the creative solution, and that's the 3 is the answer. That's really what it's all about. I won't elaborate too much because it would be just overlapping what you said. I would have read it very similarly. So it's that that creative solution is really the answer to the problem of this in this particular spread. But it's wonderful to see how cards in their relationship to each other mm-hmm. can completely give new meaning and new interpretation, and even make us aware of things that we've seen a million times, but then we put a new spin on it.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that it's all coming together with this story, and that's really the magic of the tarot.
And it's funny because I had a period of time where I'd stopped doing the tarot. And then when I picked it back up, it's like, all right, I'm going to do a journal, I'm going to do a diary, I'm going to do all this stuff. And when I read the tarot in the past, it was all based on keywords. You know, so I had mothering, abundance, senses, nature, generosity, emotional, and that's how I read it. I read it using one-word interpretations.
It's so much more than that.
I wasn't reading the poetry.
Yeah, you gotta read it as a spread.
I didn't see the song. I didn't see that this is an actual living entity.
Yep.
And that this is actually, you know, a story that's unfolding. So as you're going through,
as you become a more advanced reader, it becomes less about what does this card mean, and more about what does this card mean in relation to the other cards in the spread. And once you get to that level, you become, a really good reader.
So that's about all I have. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts?
Yeah, we're almost out of time here. This is the end of the hour.
To an hour.
But we will definitely take any questions that anyone has, if there are any questions out there in the audience.
Yeah. Or if anybody has a comment they'd like to make. Maybe, and I'm doing this so I learn. So it's like if somebody's got an opinion or a thought that I haven't thought about,
it all adds to it.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. Says Kazi Kazamaz.
Hey, Kazi Kazamaz.
Yeah. Well, no questions, but I will watch for you and try to spend some time with you again. I appreciate that. Yeah, definitely follow my channel. We do this every Wednesday, Jamie and I. And my channel is Offbeat Artwork, and Jamie's is MyTarot.
Yep. So, and my website's MyTarot.org, and it's got a connection to the Twitch. Sure. But Twitch, if you do MyTarot, or if you do the...
my website is offbeatartwork.com, but if you just do Offbeat Artwork, you can find me on Twitch. But yeah, we both give readings, and we both have these wonderful talks every Wednesday. We're going through the tarot card by card, and we're up to 3. This week was the Empress, and next week we will talk about her counterpart, the Emperor. And we will
and I want to say also go to Michael's website, because he sells. he has his paintings up there for sale.
Lots of offbeat artwork, and eventually, hopefully, sometime next year, I will complete my my very own tarot, which will be totally inspired by all the research I've done, plus all the talks that Jamie and I are having. It's all going to weave together to make something very special that will weave old and new traditions together with my own offbeat style. So I'll keep you posted on that.
And if you go to the About page and you want to donate me about $1,000, $1,000 so I can get a better computer.
Aww.
Because this is not working.
It's a little choppy.
Mine is choppy over here, which is a shame. I've got a nice camera and everything. So go to MyTarot. Click the donate button, 1000.00.
And even if you just want to do $1 for me, I'll take anything.
I'm gonna see what I can do to clean up my feed here, and I'm gonna have to do something.
Yeah,
but
we'll work it out.
Yeah,
and hopefully we'll be smoother streaming next week.
So that was a lot of fun, and so I think me and Michael are going to call it an evening?
Yeah, I think so. We're at the end of our hour, so...
Good.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody got something from this.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks a lot, everybody.
Yep, take care, and we'll see you next week.